Hi everyone, how is it going? Welcome back to my channel. And today I have a video that I didn't originally plan on doing, but you know what? I decided that I think it's right that I talk about it. So today I'm going to be talking about the 2019 film Judy, starring Renée Zellweger. So, as a gay man, I feel it's important to discuss my stance on my thoughts on Judy Garland. And I think I'll begin with that I don't feel a deep connection to Judy Garland as I do with some of my other idols. But Judy is technically the first gay icon I ever was introduced to. The Wizard of Oz, picture right there, it was my favorite movie growing up. I think I had it on VHS, and I would replace it, I think every year, because I would just, play it so much, and it was always the movie that was playing. And I loved Judy Garland. I loved the story, and I remember when I was younger, I just didn't understand the idea that she was dead. Like, I didn't understand that. I was like, how could she be dead? She's so young in this movie. And, you get, when you're younger, stuff like that doesn't make sense. And I honestly didn't watch too much else of Judy growing up because I just didn't have that as accessible to me. As I've gotten older, I've seen many of her other movies, and as you can see, I have a little collection right here. Knowing and researching what Judy went through in her time, in her life, it's such a sad story. And the fact is that it's not a one-note story. This happens to so many other people in the Hollywood eye. And you can make the argument that they're in Hollywood, they have everything in the world. I would be with you on that argument too, but for certain people like Judy, it's so sad to look back and see what happened to her and what she had to go through. And to think to be literally a living legend and to be treated like absolute shit is just, it's unfathomable to me. And so when they announced that this movie was a thing, I thought it was a good idea. I actually truly did. And I heard that Renée Zellweger was playing Judy, and that didn't bother me. Some people have a weird hate of Renée Zellweger. I like her. I thought she was great in Chicago. And when I saw the first release photos of her in the makeup for Judy, I was like, wow, she looks just like her. I didn't see the movie in theaters because I just didn't. I waited for it to come to the local Redbox in my town, and I rented that Blu-ray and I watched it, and I liked it. Some people really hated this movie. Some people absolutely loved it. I am in the middle of how I feel about this movie. We seem to be in a very big era right now of pop stars, movie stars, and getting their own movies about themselves, like Rocketman and Bohemian Rhapsody, and there's a new one about Aretha Franklin coming out. And as someone who is a big fan of The Cher Show and liked the Donna Summer musical and is here for the Tina Turner musical, I find these films to be somewhat interesting. I have not seen Bohemian Rhapsody or Rocketman, and I will never, honestly, probably see Rocketman just because I don't like Elton John, and just for a quick little tidbit, I only don't like him because he said something really nasty about Madonna, and I'm like, how are you, a gay man, saying something nasty about Madonna? It doesn't make sense, but I won't keep you. So there's that. But the thing about these movies is that they chronicle, and even the musicals, they go from the beginning of the story of that person to the end. And Judy makes the decision to make it all about the last years of her life when she did the series of London concerts at the Talk of the Town. And from first glance, that sounds fine, but when you dig deep into that idea, it almost seems a little, I don't know if sexist is the right word, that we're going to focus on the highs and lows and careers of men, but only focus on the lows of literally one of the greatest performers who ever lived. And, the more I think about that, the more that bothers me, that that's all this movie is about, is the end of her life, the worst part of her life. And something about that just rubs me the wrong way. Now, if we strip all that away and just look at the movie for what it is a very well-done movie. Renée Zellweger gives a great performance. but it did not completely capture me in the way that it should have. And I don't think it's her fault, because they made the decision to have her sing. And you know, honestly, that doesn't bother me. I thought her singing was good, but it sounds absolutely like nothing like Judy Garland. It's not big enough to sound like Judy Garland. It was missing some form of bigness. And that was a problem, you know? It really took you out of the moment. Like, you're like, okay, she's acting, and then she sings, and it just doesn't match on par. And did it need to be as good as Judy is or was? No, but it was missing that strong belt. If they had had someone with a stronger belt, I think it would have come across a lot more well done, if I should say. But if you strip that away, Renée Zellweger's performance is heartbreaking. It's beautiful, it's touching, and she clearly did her homework. And if she does end up winning the Oscar for it, I think it's well deserved. She put a lot into this role. Unfortunately, it didn't come out, I think, as good as it could have, but that's not really her fault. And I think it's filmed really well, but there's just... I was watching another review where the one person stated basically that it just focuses on that end and the Wizard of Oz. And there's so much more to Judy Garland than just the end of her life and the Wizard of Oz. There's the fact that she was literally robbed for winning the Oscar for A Star Is Born. The fact that, there's just so many things that they didn't even bother discussing. And that kind of makes me mad, because she has such, while her life story did end so sadly, there were so many highs in it. And if you go through the highs and the lows, then you have a perfect film. But when you just focus on the lows, it doesn't ring true. You don't see Judy at her finest, and to then how she went down to the lowest. And I wonder why the filmmakers were only concerned with showing the lows. And the thing is that this film is loosely based on the play End of the Rainbow, which starred Tracy Bennett. And technically the play does the same thing as well, but here's the thing, what it comes down to is that no matter how you look at it, a play and a film are very different in terms of how they can be executed. And I think for a play, it made sense to only do the end for a play purposes. But when you have a film that can do so much more than a play could, and granted, if they wanted to do the play into a full-length story, they could have. But I think with a play, I think the key with plays is simplicity most of the time. And I think that makes sense for a play. But the film could have done so much more. And I have to say, I'm kind of thankful, because of this film, I was introduced when reading, because, you know, I spent some of my time reading the Broadway World vlogs, and I didn't know this, but this isn't the first film that's ever been made about Judy Garland. Let me get the date exactly right, in 2001, there was a film, a TV film, I should say, called Life with Judy Garland, Me and My Shadows, which starred, what's her name? Judy Davis and Tammy Blanchard, and it chronicled her whole life. And I have not watched this film yet, however, I did rent it from the library and I skimmed it. And it looks really well done, and it looks more accurate to Judy than this film ended up being. And, you know, I feel okay saying some of this because I don't feel as connected to Judy Garland as I would say if they made the film about Mariah Carey or Cher. So I feel like I'm not bitching that, you know, my poor Judy wasn't done right, but I feel like she deserved more. And I think this film could have been more. But this is not, I think it was a well-directed film, and it served the purpose of what it wanted to do, but I don't know if that was the purpose that they should have gone for. So if it wins, and again, this really to me isn't about Renée Zellweger, it's more about the script and what they decided to talk about. Renée Zellweger, she wins that Academy Award, well-deserved. I forgot to look and see who else was nominated this year, but I would be all for it if Renée Zellweger won. So yeah, that's Judy for you. I don't know if it has a rewatch value to me. Maybe I'd rewatch it with a friend and see what they think. But yeah. So like I would say, if you want, I have it up here, Life with Judy Garland, Me and My Shadows. I would check that out if you want a comprehensive story. I haven't even honestly watched it yet. Maybe I'll watch it and I'll review it on here, we'll see. But it just seems like that film had more heart in it. And I think the only heart in this film is from Renée Zellweger. So, yeah, I think that's it. Judy, a film that I would probably give 5 out of 10 stars, and for Renée Zellweger's performance, I would easily give an 8 out of 10. And I think the only 2 points that get lost is because of her having to do the singing. And this is not me saying Renée Zellweger sounded bad. I think she sounded great, but it just wasn't anywhere on par with how Judy actually sounded. So let me know what you guys thought about Judy, the film, down below. I'm always curious to know what you guys think, and thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and ask me any questions you would like. Follow me on Instagram at salrocha_18. Be happy to talk to you there too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later.